Baba Okechi was the native doctor of Umuoke village. He had few other young boys who practiced from him, and he was feared all over the village because he is the person that commune with the gods on behalf of the villagers. And outside of him, the villagers had nothing to fight against, so it was not without respect that he was given the role of Pacific's president. Every year the village of Umuoke normally comes alive during the Festival of Unity. People came from far and wide, drums echoed through the air, and villagers danced in bright traditional attire, celebrating their ancestors. Ada, the beautiful 6-year-old daughter of a farmer, was the star of the evening. Her laughter and graceful movements lit up the square. However, in the shadows, Okechi, the native doctor's son, watched her intently. Known for his arrogance, Okechi believed everything he desired should belong to him. Little did Ada know that this night of joy would mark the beginning of her darkest days. Regardless, as the festival ended, Ada took the familiar path home through the forest. The stars twinkled above, and the air was filled with the scent of fresh earth. Suddenly, Okechi appeared, his intentions dark. "Let me walk you home," he said. But before Ada could respond, his grip tightened. She screamed and fought, but the forest swallowed her cries, and Okechi had his way. By the time she stumbled home, her spirit was shattered. She sat in silence, unable to voice what had happened. The morning came with the usual bustle, but Ada remained withdrawn. Her father noticed her quietness and asked what was wrong, but she shook her head. Whispers started to circulate in the village about Okechi's behavior at the festival. People knew of his arrogance, but were too afraid to speak against the native doctor's family. Meanwhile, Ada's shame and fear consumed her, as she felt trapped between societal judgment and her. Desperate for solace, Ada visited the sacred river at dawn. Kneeling by the water, she called out to Nwani Mamiri, the river spirit. "Please, help me," she wept. The water shimmered, and a voice emerged. "Your cries have been heard, child. Justice will come, but it will not be easy." Ada felt a strange sense of hope, even as fear lingered in her heart. The next morning, a strange sight greeted the villagers. Fields that had been lush and green were now dry and lifeless. Crops withered overnight, and confusion spread through the village. The elders gathered, wondering if the ancestors were angry. They called upon the native doctor for answers, but the spirits remained silent. Ada watched silently, knowing the spirits were waiting for her story to be heard. Ada finally told his father what happened, and he broke down in tears, unable to ignore his daughter's suffering. He approached the village chief, demanding justice. The chief hesitated, fearing the native doctor's influence. Word spread, and other villagers, emboldened by Ada's father's courage, began to speak up about Okechi's previous misdeeds. The village's loyalty to the native doctor was now being questioned. During a village meeting, a sudden whirlwind disrupted the gathering. The chief priest fell into a trance, speaking in a voice that was not his own. "Truth must come to light, or the village will suffer. Justice must be served." Fear spread through the crowd, and for the first time, the villagers began to consider Ada's unspoken pain. Confronted by the elders, Okechi denied Ada accusations. He claimed she was lying to tarnish his family's name. His father, the native doctor, defended him, using his reputation to dismiss the claims. But the villagers noticed cracks in Okechi's confidence, and doubt began to grow. The village river, which had never run dry, suddenly disappeared. Panic spread as water became scarce. The elders realized this was no ordinary misfortune. The spirits were waiting for the village to confront the truth. Ada's father pleaded with the chief to act before it was too late. Through the chief priest, the spirits delivered a final warning. Confess the truth within 7 days, or the village will face ruin. The villagers were now divided. Some believed Ada, while others feared angering the native doctor's family. The tension in Umuoke was palpable. Ada sat before the village elders, trembling but determined. Her voice, though soft, carried the weight of her pain. She recounted the night of the festival, sparing no detail. The villagers listened in silence, some averting their eyes in shame. Ada's father stood by her side, his anger visible but controlled. As she finished, tears streaming down her face, a murmur rippled through the crowd. The bravery of a young girl had shaken the foundations of their community, and the elders could no longer ignore the truth. Okechi began to suffer from strange dreams, haunted by visions of angry spirits and a river of fire. His health deteriorated, and he was unable to leave his home. One evening, racked with guilt and fear, he confessed his crime to his father. The native doctor, torn between his love for his son and his role as a spiritual guide, urged Okechi to confess to the elders. Though reluctant, Okechi knew he had no choice. His confession sent shock waves through the village. The elders convened to decide Okechi's fate. The villagers gathered around the square, anxious and divided. While some called for severe punishment, others argued for mercy, citing the native doctor's past contributions to the community. The elders deliberated for hours, mindful of the spirit's warning. Finally, they announced their decision. Okechi would serve the village and Ada family in penance for his actions, and the native doctor would relinquish his role until trust could be restored. Through the chief priest, the spirits voiced their approval of the elders' decision, but warned that the village must uphold justice and protect the innocent in the future. They declared that Okechi's atonement would extend beyond labor. It would also involve educating the younger generation about respect and consent. The native doctor, humbled, vowed to use his knowledge to promote healing rather than fear. Okechi began his penance under the watchful eyes of the community. He worked tirelessly on Ada family farm, repairing their home and tending to the land. The villagers, initially skeptical, began to see his genuine remorse. Ada, though still scarred by the past, found strength in her faith and the support of her family. Slowly, the village began to heal. The elders introduced new laws to protect vulnerable members of the community. They established a council to address grievances and encouraged open dialogue about issues previously swept under the rug. Women, who had often been silenced, were given a platform to speak and contribute to the village's decisions. This marked a turning point for Umuoke, as the community vowed never to let fear or complacency allow injustice to thrive. Ada's resilience inspired many in the village. She began to share her story with young girls, teaching them to speak up and stand strong in the face of adversity. Ada transformed her pain into purpose, becoming a beacon of hope for others. The native doctor, deeply remorseful for his role in covering up his son's actions, dedicated himself to serving the community. He used his spiritual knowledge to guide the village toward unity and healing. His humility and efforts to restore trust earned him a measure of forgiveness from the villagers. Though he had lost his title, he gained something more meaningful: the respect of a community working to rebuild itself. The village saw its fortunes change. The river flowed once more, crops flourished, and the air of despair lifted. During a ceremony to thank the spirits, the chief priest announced that Umuoke had been given a second chance. The villagers celebrated, not just for the blessings, but for the lessons they had learned. They understood that their strength lay in unity, justice, and the courage to confront difficult truths. Did you enjoy this story? Please share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to give us a like, subscribe to this channel, and turn on the notification bell to get notified when the next video is out. Thank you for watching.